Today we will discuss the chapter 8, Constituents of Food. Good nutrition is essential for the normal growth and development and also to prevent infections or diseases. And what are the constituents of food? The constituents of food are carbohydrates, protein, fats, minerals, vitamins, and also water. And water is not considered as a nutrient, but water is indispensable for the body. That is 92% of every living thing is made up of water. We know that. And if we can survive without food for more than 1 week, but without water we can't even survive for 2 days. It will completely disrupt the bodily functions. So now let's talk about each and every constituent of food. That is, first let's start with protein. That is what is given in your textbook. So what is protein? Proteins are complex compounds of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen and sulfur. Complex compounds, and this is the only nutrient that contains nitrogen in it. That is, protein is the only protein is the only way of the body to get nitrogen. So some of the protein also contains phosphorus and iron, and these are complex substances, and these should be broken down to simpler forms, that is amino acids. See, actually these proteins are composed of amino acids, as we know, and almost 20 amino acids have been identified, and among them about 11 are essential and other 9 are non-essential. What do you mean by essential amino acids? Actually, essential amino acids means these amino acids should be cannot be taken from the protein that we cannot be synthesized in the body, and it should be provided from outside, like through food. It is available only. And in case of non-essential, it can be manufactured in the body itself. So essential amino acids are, let me tell you some examples. There are almost 11 I told you. And then phenylalanine, valine, threonine, tryptophan, isoleucine, methionine, histidine, arginine, leucine, and lysine are the examples. You don't have to remember all these, but just know that there is essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids. Non-essential amino acids examples are alanine, asparagine, glutamate, and proline, serine, glutamine, cysteine, aspartate, glycine, and tyrosine. So again, what are the major sources of proteins? Do you know the major source of protein? Yes, it's vegetable kingdom is from animal kingdom, but the easily available protein is always from easily digestible and absorbable protein is from animal kingdom that we get. Example are eggs, meat, fish, etc. And see, these are considered as complete proteins. Why they are considered as complete proteins? Because these all they have all essential amino acids in them. That's why they are considered as good quality proteins or complete proteins. Milk and milk products also are considered as complete proteins. The incomplete proteins, usually vegetable kingdom, that is the proteins that we get from vegetable kingdom are cereals, pulses are from cereals, pulses, gram, cashew nut, groundnut, etc. And incomplete proteins are having deficiency of 1 or 2 essential amino acids. Example, in cereals there is a deficiency of lysine, and in pulses there is a deficiency of methionine. So usually in our homes, like in a breakfast or not, we eat a combination of a cereal and a pulse. It's because when they both combine, we get the complete protein. See, I told you cereals are lacking lysine, and pulses or they are lacking in methionine. So when we get a combination of it, it becomes a complete protein. So I think everything is clear. Now, most of the vegetable cereals and proteins appear to be deficient in one or more essential amino acids, as I told you. And animal proteins are better sources of amino acids and proteins of milk and milk products, eggs, fish, poultry, and chicken and fowl. Glandular meat also, like kidney, liver, etc., are especially valuable. Then, what are the uses of protein? First use is it acts as a building block for our body. Every tissue is made up of proteins. Every tissues are made up of different combinations of proteins, and they are considered as they supply building material for the body. And one more thing is there, they can act as a building block. Second one is transport functions, like hemoglobin, albumin, etc. are actually made up of protein. And next is catalytic function. Usually every biochemical reactions like urea cycle, then there are glycolysis. Every kind of biochemical reaction that happens in our body needs catalysts, and these catalysts, enzymes are usually acting as catalysts, and these enzymes are actually formed by proteins. And next is maintenance of homeostasis, that is water balance is maintained by protein by the help of plasma, osmotic pressure and all, and regulatory functions, and a lot of other functions are there. We don't have to go into details of these. Then proteins are carbohydrates that are converted to fat to some extent. In case of extra use of proteins or carbohydrates, it is converted into fat. Then, protein is actually not very easily digestible as that of carbohydrate, and protein digestion usually happens starts in the stomach in an acidic environment by enzyme called pepsin, and its stimulation, or it starts functioning only in an acidic environment, though it needs a acidic environment, and then hydrochloric acid provides that acidic environment in the stomach. And first it's pepsin, next is chymotrypsin, trypsin. These are actually present in the small intestine, and here also the next part of digestion of the protein happens. Absorption happens in the small intestine, as we have all studied in smaller standards, that microvilli, intestinal microvilli actually helps in absorption. Okay, what is the required quantity of protein? Required quantity of protein is from Food and Nutrition Board at National Research Council has proposed a standard intake of 70 gram. 70 gram of protein for a person weighing 70 kg, and 60 gram of protein for a female weighing about 56 kg. That is written clearly in your notebook. And but children need more because they are in a stage of growth and development, right? During growth and development, the consumption and the use of protein is more by the body. These are about the now we have almost discussed the protein chapter, protein part. Now we'll go to the carbohydrate part. So, carbohydrate. What are carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are complex, again the complex compounds of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, three things. But in case of protein, there comes nitrogen also into the picture. The chief function of carbohydrates is to provide energy. We know that the chief source of carbohydrates, usually our body uses the glucose. Glucose is actually a monosaccharide, the simplest form of carbohydrate. Glucose as the energy giving agent. Usually even fat or protein, whatever it is converted into glucose in order to be absorbed by our cells. Okay, so it is known as a fuel food of the body, and during the process of combustion with oxygen from lungs, heat and also carbon dioxide is produced, that we all know. And a combustion of actually glucose leads to the a generation of heat and also carbon dioxide. What are the sources of carbohydrates? We'll now go to the sources of carbohydrates. Cereals, everything. Cereals, potatoes, wheat, pulses, tubers, any kind. Arrowroot, banana, sweet potatoes, fruits, vegetables, everything contains carbohydrate. Most of the food contains carbohydrates, and deficiency of carbohydrate, what will it will do? Deficiency of carbohydrates leads to malnutrition. Protein, energy, malnutrition usually. And increased consumption of carbohydrate leads to obesity. Okay. I think everything is clear now. About carbohydrate, lots of things have to be told. Like carbohydrate, the simplest form of carbohydrates are called monosaccharide. Then three carbon atoms present. Then it is called triose. Then tetrose, 4 carbon atoms. Pentose, 5 carbon atoms. That's all not needed for you. Then disaccharides. There are monosaccharides examples. I have told you now. One example I will tell you. I haven't told you. That is glucose. Glucose is a monosaccharide. Galactose is a monosaccharide. And examples of disaccharides are lactose, sucrose. Sucrose is actually our sugar, normal sugar that we cane sugar, no? That is a combination of glucose and fructose. And lactose is actually milk sugar, and that is a combination of glucose and galactose. These are just some extra points that I don't think you don't have to worry about all these things. Then starch. Starch is also homoglycan, that is more than 10 polysaccharide. It's one of the polysaccharides, that is more than 10 monosaccharide units are there in that. And starch is of storage form in plants. And in the form of starch itself, carbohydrate is stored in plants, and in animals it is stored in the form of glycogen. You just have to remember that. In animals it is stored as glycogen, and in plants it is stored as starch. Okay. Now sources we have already discussed, and next uses. What are the uses? Carbohydrates helps in the metabolism of fat also. Okay, uses. One, it helps in the metabolism of fat also, and about 1 grain of carbohydrate releases almost 4 calories of 4 calories of energy. Okay. Next, functions of carbohydrate. First function is it helps in storage, like in the form of glycogen, storage of energy. Next, it is a major energy giving nutrient. Next, it helps to produce cell surface proteins. And plants, polysaccharides, starch, cellulose are ingested by human beings. That we know, we all know. And polysaccharides like cellulose, agar has other important uses also. That's not needed for you. Just remember all these things. And now, digestion of carbohydrates is actually starts from our mouth itself through saliva. In saliva there is a enzyme called salivary amylase, and this salivary amylase starts digesting our carbohydrate, and again when it in the stomach it is actually deactivated, and again it starts activating, this enzyme start activating in the pancreas, and it is called pancreatic amylase. And then whatever it is, every carbohydrate, disaccharide, polysaccharide, everything is broken down into monosaccharide, usually glucose, and glucose is the main source of energy for each cell. Okay, I think everything is clear now. Now, one more thing is there. If we are doing a lot of physical activity, we need a lot of carbohydrate rich food to be in our diet. If you are actually sedentary, there is not much need of carbohydrate food in our diet. Means you have to reduce amount of intake. So nothing else is to be told here.